Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Shivani Vashist, Professor of English at Manav Rachana Institute of Research and Studies. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Kamath, Dr. Nadaf, his IQAC team members, and the other premier institutes who have taken this initiative of organizing the 7-day faculty development program on institutional benchmarking of best practices. No doubt, this is a very apt and need of the hour topic. In next 30 minutes or so, I would be taking you through my presentation. Just give me a minute. Let me share my presentation with you all. Yes. So I would be first talking about the revised assessment and accreditation framework of NAC, which was launched on 7th July 2017. So as we are aware that in this new framework, there has been a paradigm shift, which has made this new framework as more objective, transparent, ICT enabled, scalable and robust. This new framework has introduced system-generated scores with combination of online evaluation and peer judgment. It also introduces the element of third-party validation of data. We have more participation now of two very important stakeholders in this assessment framework, that of student and alumni. Thus, in this new framework, which was launched by NAC, which is an autonomous body under UGC, we find that we have moved more towards data-based quantitative indicator evaluation rather than qualitative peer judgment. Now, what does accreditation mean? It means that there is a certification which is given by NAC, and the validity of this certification is for a period of 5 years. So the institutions and colleges who are going for the accreditation for the first time, their validity will be for 5 years, and if it is second year or the subsequent years, so in the last 6 months of the validity period, they have to apply again. Now, this is a very stringent exercise, and NAC is very stringent and strict about it, as is reflected in the data of 2018 year. We find that only 206 universities could match up to the standards of NAC, and only 1,650 colleges out of 11,816 colleges were accredited grade A by NAC. So unless until we move in a methodical, organized manner, it would be a Herculean task to get grade A or good grade for NAC. Now, what are the different grades which are attributed by NAC? This is all reflected in this particular slide. If the CGPA of an institute falls between 3.51 to 4, so that institute gets A++, which is the topmost. And if the CGPA is less than 1.5, then that institute gets D grade, and that institute has to reapply for the accreditation. Now that comes to a very important question, that why should one go for this certification? What are the benefits which are associated with it? Now the first very important benefit is that a feeling of collaboration, cooperation, coordination and teamwork prevails on the campus. And what best example than this faculty development program, where many premier institutes and colleges have come together for this FDP. The institutions can, through this assessment process, can do their own SWOT analysis. They will come to know about their strengths, weaknesses and opportunities. And wherever they lack, whatever their weaknesses are, they can work upon that in a planned and well executed manner. We have also seen that the employment agencies, when they come to recruit the candidates, so they are always looking for candidates who have passed out or who are studying in these institutes which enjoy good accreditation from NAC. Also, the funding agencies, whether government or private, they release funds in an impartial and objective manner. And the most important is that the institutions have to adopt new, improved, and innovative methods of teaching pedagogy. Now, there are 7 criteria in this process. Uh, Curriculum aspects, this is criteria 1. Then we have teaching, learning, and evaluation, research, innovation, and extension, infrastructure and learning resource, this is criteria 4. It has got 100 points associated with it, and this is the particular criteria that I would be talking about in my presentation in next 20 minutes. Student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, and last criteria 7 is institutional value and best practices. So overall, these 7 criteria have got 1000 points associated. Now the assessment process is carried out in 3 stages. First is the self-study report, which is SSR, and particularly to criteria 4, I would just be taking you through that. What are the various metrics which are associated? Student satisfaction survey and peer team report. Now, what is student satisfaction survey? The NAC is looking for responses from students, and the data is picked up by NAC on a randomly basis. The students are usually given a link in which they have to give their response, and this link is valid for 7 days. A student gets 2 attempts to give the response, and the response are measured on a Likert scale. There are 20 objective questions and 1 subjective questions. So what is the importance of student satisfaction survey? Importance is that whatever claim the institution has made in the self-study report, it should conform to the satisfaction survey of the student also. They should also justify, they should also give the responses given by them should match with the claims of the institute. So it becomes a very important component of this assessment process. Now, I would be talking more about the university criteria, and there are, I've told you 7. There are 7 key indicators, and now more focus is on quantitative metrics. And now we can see there the points. There are 99 quantitative metrics which are based on figures and data. The qualitative metrics are the ones wherein we have to describe, and the responses are given in a descriptive manner. So total metrics for a university are 137 for the 7 criteria. Thus, it becomes a Herculean task if one has to go for NAC accreditation. So it is always better that we begin the process well in time, so that when we the window open for filing up of SSR, we are all prepared. The things are all ready with us. So a stitch in time saves 9. So we should be all comfortable with our facts, with our data, with our metrics which are required in the SSR. Now I would be talking more about criteria 4, which is infrastructure and learning resources. Now this criteria has 100 points associated. There are 4 key indicators. First is physical facilities. Second is a library as a learning resource. Third is IT infrastructure, and fourth is maintenance of campus infrastructure. And what are the weightage associated with each key indicators? That are all mentioned in front of it. Now I would be taking up each key indicator one by one. So first we come to physical facilities. So herein one is supposed to talk about, one is supposed to describe or give data and figures about the adequacy of physical facilities which are available in the campus. And no doubt these facilities are very important, very crucial for effective and efficient conduct of an educational program. We have also seen that the academic developments, whatever are taking place in an institution, must match with the growth of infrastructure. If we talk about the new improved teaching learning process, it cannot happen if the classrooms do not have PowerPoint projectors, they do not have facilities of LCD. So there has to be a harmony between the growth of infrastructure and the academic developments. And definitely all this contributes to effective ambience for curricular, extracurricular and administrative activities. Now, the metrics under this key indicator, the first is 4.1.1. Uh, this is a qualitative matrix wherein one is supposed to talk about in 500 words about the facilities which are available in the campus related with teaching learning. Vis-a-vis, one has to talk about classrooms, laboratories, computing equipments, etc. Also in SSR, if there one has to paste links also for any additional information. So now we have seen the institutions, they have classrooms fitted with the LCD projectors for conduct of teaching learning process. The campus definitely should have a Wi-Fi connection. Department should have computer facility with them wherein the faculty members and the staff members should be in possession of either laptops or desktops for the easy functioning in the department. So that is for the classrooms facilities. Now, what about the laboratories? So definitely if it is an engineering institute that has mechanical department, biotech department, civil engineering, so definitely they should have labs which would give a hands-on training to the student, and also it's very essential for the industry academia connect. So these facilities should be there on campus with the institutes. If we talk about English department, so definitely English department should have a language lab also, wherein the students and teachers would go for the practice of the pronunciation, the accent, the intonation, that practice certain exercises to improve their LSRW skills can be taken care of. If there is a department of hotel management, so they definitely should go for food lab, wherein the students can be given hands-on training. They can go for the catering services. So all these facilities should be there in an institution, and if it is not there, one should always speak about it, and these facilities have to be mentioned in this matrix in 500 words. 4.1.2, herein again this is a qualitative matrix, and one has to talk about the facilities pertaining to sports and cultural events. Definitely we do not want our student to be just bookworms, and we should look for holistic development of the students. Now these are some of the pictures that I have taken from my university, that is Manav Rachana International Institute of Research and Studies. So we do have, as is you can see in the pictures, we do have a very good cricket ground. This is all well lit. This is a night shot. We have indoor shooting facility for the students, and we do have an auditorium which caters to a capacity of more than 500 people, and the cultural events are all organized there in auditorium. However, this is not all. One can always talk about the recreation room, which would be there in your campus. A student's corner. There should be facility of indoor sports in the campus. And all these facilities are very important to give the overall shape to the personality of the student. The cultural events, the facility should be there. There should be an open air theater, an auditorium also. There should be a good central lawn wherein certain activities can be held, certain events can be held in open air. So the facilities which are there in the campus must be mentioned in this particular criteria, and the links can definitely be provided in this. The next criteria talks about the percentage of the classrooms and seminar halls with ICT enabled facilities such as smart class, LMS, etc. And herein one has to talk only about the current year data. Now this matrix has got 10 points associated with. There is a formula through which it is calculated. What more important here to note is that one has to provide the hyperlinked video and geotag photographs of classrooms and seminar halls with ICT facilities. So whatever data we provide, we mention, those will be verified with the geotag photographs and the videos. The next matrix is the average percentage of budget allocation excluding salary for infrastructure augmentation during last 5 years. This matrix has got 10 points, and through this formula which is mentioned here, an average of the budget allocation is deduced. Now what is important here and what one has to note is that whatever funds are allocated for the maintenance and augmentation of infrastructure facilities, that should be certified by the chartered accountant. Now, to give an idea what kind of infrastructure augmentation could be done, uh, your institution or your college must have spent on catering to the parking facilities for the student. Some institutions do come up with their own indoor stadium wherein students can practice, they can play their sports. Um, for example, my university does have hostel facilities also, so the maintenance of hostel can be included in this. One can also come up with an idea of introducing certain centers like a Department of Student Welfare Center, which will cater to the students' participation in various sports and cultural events, which we have covered in the preceding criteria 4.1.1 and 1.2. There could be a center known as Student Facilitation Center that talks about or that attends to the issues and concerns of the students. So these are some of the ideas that one can really take from here. One can think about it. It could be introduced in your own university or colleges, and definitely the budget, the money which will be spent on this will be a part of this particular criteria. The next very important key indicator is library as a learning resource, and this has 20 weightage. Now, library has become a very important quality indicator for the academic institutions. It definitely enables students to acquire information, knowledge, and skills. And we know that now e-resources and digital library have become a necessity. So this is a very important key indicator. These are some of the pictures of my university, and why I have picked it up and I'm showcasing it to you all is so that it gives an idea. And this is not all, the list is not all. You can always come up with your own ideas also in your own institution. This is just for an example. So like in the second photograph, you can see that each student has a computer set, a desktop set, wherein they have the access to the e-resources which are there in the library. We do have a good stock of library, the books, periodicals and magazines in the library. We have certain discussion rooms also, the roundabout sofas and chairs you can see, wherein we have small gatherings, small meetings, discussions, seminars, colloquiums are also done in the library. Now, 4.2.1, it again a qualitative matrix wherein one is supposed to describe the integrated library management system. Now, since library has become a very important key indicator, so the library should definitely be either fully automated or partial automated. Whatever the scenario in your institution is, that can be mentioned here. One has to talk about the software which is available in the library, which year was it taken, what was the version, and the data has to be provided for the last 5 years. Just to give an example, the library which I have showed you in my previous slide, in Manav Rachana, the books are barcoded. So whenever a student gets the book issued, it is through the reading of the barcode. The library we have is fully automated. We are already a member of Delnet, and so the libraries and the e-resources can be easily accessed by the staff. A lot of institutions are now coming up and storing and maintaining record of their question papers also in library. Not only question papers, the syllabus, projects the students pursue during their graduation or post-graduation course, the MA or MPhil dissertation work or PhD thesis, all that is kept in the library. 4.2.2 is collection of rare books and manuscripts. Herein one has to talk about the name of the book and manuscript, the periodicals, the magazines, the name of the publisher, it is of who is the author of these books and manuscripts, what are the number of copies that are available in the library, which year of publishing is mentioned in the book, and all this data is to be provided for the last 5 years. So unless until a library has a good number of books, it is well stocked with variety of, with range of books, definitely this matrix would be little difficult to be filled. 4.2.3, this matrix has 2 points, and it talks about, does the institution have the following? So does your institution possesses e-journals, e-Shodh Sindhu, Shodh Ganga membership, e-books, and the database has to be shared in the SSR, and the data has to be provided for 5 years. And if you say that the library does enjoy Shodh Ganga membership, so the details of the membership and the subscription has to be provided. Nowadays, since it is important as per the UGC regulation that the short synopsis of PhD students, the scholars, have to be uploaded on Shodh Ganga. So it becomes imperative for the institution and colleges to go for Shodh Ganga. 4.2.4, this talks about the average annual expenditure for purchase of books and journals during the last 5 years. 5 points are allocated to this matrix. Now, what has to be kept in mind is a proper record of the library meetings. Definitely, an institution would be having a library committee. There would be a chairperson, some members of the library committee who would be meeting, discussing about the procurement, the purchase of books and journals on a regular frequency. So the minutes of these meetings, the proceedings, what is the outcome, what action has been taken up during as a follow-up of that meeting, uh, how much fund was allocated for the purchase, for the procurement, and how these funds have been utilized. So all these details have to be mentioned in this matrix, and this again audit statement has to be provided. 4.2.5 is availability of remote access to e-resources of the library. So who is the contact person? What is the connectivity bandwidth which is available? So the details of e-resources has to be mentioned it has got 1 point associated, and it becomes very important because as in the lockdown situation also, it should be available to students and staff to access the e-resources. Next matrix talks about the percentage per day usage of library by teachers and students. So now just having a good library, well-stocked library with good journals, having good membership is not sufficient. What is important is that the staff, teachers and students, they make the best use of the library, they make the best use of the resources which are there in the library. So one has to provide the last page of the accession register. What method of computing per day usage of library is there? What is the number of users who have gone through the e-access, and number of physical users accessing library? So this data has to be provided, and which would cater to the which would tell about that what percentage of teachers, students are making use of this library resource. Now whatever practices must be going on in your institutions, now how can we enhance that, how can we raise the percentage? Just to share a few examples is, during exam times I've seen institution usually go for extended library hours. They make the library open 24/7 for the student to come there, sit, make use of books and journals, so that they can make their notes, they can prepare well for the exams. So definitely that will help you in increasing the usage of library. Also, it could be added in your own timetable of the students also. There could be one lecture which could be assigned in the timetable, wherein the teacher could could go along with the students, make a visit to the library. And um, there are the projects which are taken up by the students. Definitely that is only possible if there is well stocked library available in the campus. The question papers, we follow Bloom's taxonomy to frame our question paper, which talks about the higher levels, the synthesis, the analysis. So all that is not possible if the student or the staff is not making visit to the library. The teacher also needs to visit to keep themselves updated with in their particular domain, and the students also. So this way, little efforts can be made to increase the usage of library. The next matrix is 4.2.7. This talks about the e-content which has been developed by teachers, those who are associated with institution, colleges, your particular college. So whether teachers have developed e-PG Pathshala, CEC, they have made some module for SWAM or MOOC, they have made some module for NPTEL or for institutional LMS or for any other government initiative. If the answer is yes, so then the details are to be provided, the name of the teacher, name of the module, platform on which this module is developed, what was the day of launching, and number of platforms on which e-content has been developed by teachers. So definitely we have to work upon this, and teachers must come forth and must go for designing and preparing modules for these various platforms, so that your institution can claim good points in this particular matrix. The third key indicator in criteria 4 is IT infrastructure. It has got 30 points. Now, institution definitely must adopt policies and strategies for adequate technology use and maintenance. Now, important is that technology should be available, and then it has to be adequately, successfully used and maintained also. ICT facilities and learning resources must be available not only for academic purposes but for administrative purposes also, and staff and students should have access. So campuses usually have LMS for their staff, wherein their biometric attendance is monitored, there is a ERP system for teachers. So all these ICT facilities should be available for teachers and for administrative staff, and this becomes the third key indicator under this criteria form. The matrix is 4.3.1. Herein, one has to describe IT facilities including Wi-Fi. There are 10 points allotted to this matrix. Now, this is a qualitative matrix. One has to describe about the IT facilities which are available with date and nature of updation, and one is supposed to upload and paste link in the SSR. So definitely institutions do have computer labs. One can describe about the computer labs, the hardware and software which are there in the computer labs, the number of computers available for staff and student, the updation of the software, when was it done, on which date, the laptops. Certain institutions have a policy of issuing laptops also for their officials on a higher position. So that also would be included here. Universities and colleges do nowadays have their own web pages also. So that can also be included in this matrix. Campus definitely would be having CCTV cameras. So that also can be mentioned here. The intercoms, the telephone facilities which campus has. So all these are some of the examples which could be described under this matrix. 4.3.2 is student computer ratio. In this, emphasis is on the number of students vis-a-vis number of computers. So how many computers are available to how many number of students. So if we are talking about benchmarking, so definitely one has to go for a ratio of 1:1, which at times might be difficult to achieve, but it is not impossible. And institution, colleges, the autonomous colleges and universities must always go for procuring more computers. As we are turning in the present scenario, we know that we are moving towards digital learning. So definitely this would be very important in this matrix. Also, one has to count the number of computers which would be available in the departments. Departmental library must be having a computer wherein student can access the e-resources. So all that must be thought about before you come to this matrix, and all that data must be ready. And definitely one has to provide the annual stock entry of the computers and the invoice or the vouchers when of the purchase of the computers. 4.3.3, what is the bandwidth of internet connection which is available in the institution. So one has to upload the details of the bandwidth of internet connection, because unless until you have a good internet facility for students, staff, administrative staff and teachers, so getting or procuring computer or taking e-resources or membership of journals would totally be a futile exercise. 4.3.4 matrix talks about the facilities for e-content development such as media center, recording facilities, lecture capturing system, etc. Now in the previous matrix wherein I talked about the modules which are prepared by teachers for MOOC, SWAM, NPTEL or for any other government initiative. So for that, what are the facilities which are available in the campus to help teachers in recording their lectures? So these are the two pictures which I have again taken from my own university. So we do have good media lab, wherein besides giving hands-on training to the teachers, we do conduct interviews of luminaries, academicians. We have good recording facilities. The cameras are available. We do have good cordless and cordless mics. And the second picture is of a classroom which has a PowerPoint projector. So what facilities are available in the campus, that has to be mentioned in this matrix, which will help teachers to record their e-content and develop that also. The last key indicator under criteria 4 is maintenance of campus infrastructure. Now, what is important here is to have a good infrastructure is not the only thing. One has to also go for its maintenance, and periodic replenishment is essential. So the optimum use of infrastructural facilities are very important in this key indicator, and the matrix, the first is 4.4.1, wherein one has to provide the average expenditure incurred on maintenance of physical facilities and academic support facilities as a percentage during the last 5 years. Now, this matrix also has a formula which is mentioned here on the slide. One has to provide again audited statement of accounts and details of budget and expenditure on physical facilities and academic facilities. What is important is that this expenditure which would be mentioned here, should not include the salary expenditure of the governing body. So now, to score well in this matrix, the governing body, the principal of the college, or the management of the institute must have a positive approach and must spend on the maintenance of the physical facilities. Unless until your computer labs have an updated software, the biotechnology lab has a variety of flora and fauna for the students to practice, to see, to do their projects. The library has good number of journals, recent publications. So the teaching learning process would definitely not be of quality. And what we are talking here is of benchmarking of maintaining quality. So definitely an expenditure on physical facilities, for example, your hostel, cafeteria, library, certain specific centers if you have in the campus, and academic support facilities has to be done on a regular basis. The last matrix is 4.4.2. Herein one has to describe about the policy details of systems and procedures for maintaining academic and support facilities on the website. Now this is a qualitative matrix. One has to describe in 1000 words that what are the policies or the systems that are being followed for maintaining and utilizing physical, academic, and support facilities. Just to give an example, we can talk about the housekeeping staff in the campus. One definitely has a supervisor in the housekeeping staff who has certain peons, clerks under him, and that these people take care of the maintenance of these support facilities. For example, the institution would be having ACs in the classrooms, in the staff rooms, in the meeting rooms. So how is it maintained? There is a process of regular maintenance of these facilities. The garden has to be maintained. It has to, the plants also needs pruning, and being attended to time and again. The electricity, the plumbing staff also has to be there in the campus. They would be maintaining all these things on the campus. If an institution or a college has its own transport, buses and facilities, so then that also requires regular maintenance. The security guards who check the entry and exit of people, of students and staff members, the visitors in the campus, that also requires the maintenance of the contract or the training of the staff. The library staff also has to go for stock verification of their own journals, and of the library there has to be an annual stock verification. The laboratories also need to go for stock verification, the maintenance of their equipments. The IT department will go for its own maintenance of the biometric system in the campus, or the maintenance of software and hardware. And so all these are some of the examples that I've shared with you, which should be all described as in this matrix in 1000 words. So now I have taken you through the various metrics which were under criteria 4. However, one has to definitely note is that we should not run after metrics. What we have to run after can be inferred from this picture of Tom and Jerry. We all know Tom always ran for food. He was always after Jerry to catch him so that he could gobble him up, so that he could eat him. And Jerry was running for life. He wanted to save his life. So we also, in the same manner, we do not have to run after metrics, but what we have to run after is quality, because quality is life for institutions, for colleges, for universities in this scenario. Now, these are some of the sites from where I had picked up certain details. These are the official sites of NAC. If you want to refer to them for more knowledge, more understanding, you can always refer to these sites. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure sharing my knowledge, my inputs with you all. And I would again like to thank the organizing team for inviting me here and giving me an opportunity of sharing my thoughts about this particular criteria 4. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Nataf. Thank you.